Hello, everybody, and welcome to Alicia Dianne Arts. I'm Alicia Dianne, and this is making a graphic novel. I haven't been making a graphic novel in a while now, so I'm really excited to be getting back to Jaydi's story. I put part two, which the name of this book is Prudence, on hold for a little while. I think it's been exactly 5 months that I've been taking a hiatus from this project. I was working on some other things, and I'm just going to be sketching, doing some figure drawing in the meantime to warm myself up. So don't mind me. I'm just going to be sharing my, if I can find the right brush that I'm looking for. There we go. So I'm just going to be sharing my screen as I do a couple of figure drawings as I warm up for doing this Jaydi story number 2. I am working on spread. I'll have to double check which spread I'm on. I think I'm on like 26 or something, and I really want to get back to it. So I wanted to help to utilize this platform to really get myself back on track. I've been doing a lot of client projects, self-employment work as an illustrator, children's book illustrator, and now as a visual development artist. And I just wanted to make sure that I also still give time to my personal projects. I did get that armandry in July, and that I think was when I really kind of paused on that. But I kept on working on the freelance project that I had. So now I feel like it's been more than enough time. I really want to get this book out into the world in 2025. So I really felt like it was important for me to schedule this. All right, so I'm going to do maybe 4 or 5 of these just to warm myself up. I like to make sure that when I'm working on something, especially something that's important to me, I don't want it to be my first drawings of the day. I want to make sure that I'm warmed up and have a couple of sketches under my belt before I get to the really important stuff. So I hope that you guys had a good Thanksgiving. This is my it's my second live stream since Thanksgiving. I forgot that I did a wildlife drawing. It was actually a Zoom meeting with Cartoon Arts Center. So that one was on Monday, but this is my first actual I guess live stream for Facebook and YouTube since Thanksgiving break. So I hope that you guys had a nice dramaless Thanksgiving. Mine was mostly dramaless. Mostly. There's a little hiccup, but nothing major. I had a really nice Thanksgiving actually, so I really enjoyed it. I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I was there with my stepkids and my son and my husband, and we had a nice time and a nice dinner together that we hadn't had together in a while, in quite a while. So I feel pretty grateful for that and thankful for that. So what I'm going to be doing when we get to the comic in a few minutes is working on a spread that I've already done the color for. Right now I'm in the inking stage, so you'll see that in just a few minutes of my inking stage, and adding just a couple of little color details with some marker, and I use brush pens to do all of my ink. And what I've been doing with my night scene, which the rest of this book is taking place at night, so the next I want to say a little bit more than a third of the book that's remaining, almost half of it, is going to be at night, taking place on one specific night, and that's the night of the football game that chapter 1, which is the first book, kind of alludes to when Sabrina starts asking Jaydi if she'll go with her. So now we're at that night, and it's the football game, which is, not American football, but soccer. So, make this a little bit smaller. I haven't done figure drawing in Photoshop in a really long time. I've been doing it almost entirely on Procreate, And what I haven't done in Procreate, I've been doing on a traditional sketchbook. So I have not done Photoshop in like almost all year. I wonder if I've ever even done any at all this year. I'm not sure. It's been so taken over by Procreate. But I really need a new iPad, so I don't know. I might switch again soon back to Procreate because my iPad is really a hot mess. I might have talked about that before, but yeah, I had to do my last live stream sketching traditionally because my iPad just is so unpredictable right now. All right. So let's see. There's another pose. I'm not sure what type of poses I selected, but I'll give her more clothes than they gave her. All right. So, and let's see, what can I talk about? I've been designing this boy for a project that's just, I'm enjoying it a lot. I haven't done a lot of like projects that have to do with what is this asking me for stuff now? That have to do with the content that I'm working on. So I mean I'm under NDAs, I can't really say anything about it, but I think I could just tell you that yeah, the main character is a male. That's about all I can say. But yeah, I haven't worked on this particular type of content. I'm not sure, or yeah, it's something that feels really fresh to me, but I feel like I'm really taking on to it really well because it feels familiar. It feels like a lot of the types of films that I grew up watching, or like the ones that inspired me. So I feel like that sort of connection to it, which is nice. All right, I'm gonna do just one or two more poses here. And she has like this samurai skirt on, which I don't know if that's even a thing. But in her case, it's become that. All right. Always hearing the ambulances go by, unfortunately. I live pretty close to the freeway, so I guess there's no shortage of things taking place. Alright, your skirt here. Change the size a little bit. It feels surprisingly comfortable to get back in Photoshop. I was like worried that I would forget how to use Photoshop because I've been so reliant on Procreate. So it feels, at least I'm glad. I'm like, oh, I didn't forget it completely. That's a good thing. That makes me happy. I was having a conversation yesterday, which was really nice, with this woman who organizes a charity. I think she began the charity, but I believe it's like an official nonprofit now, so there's a board and everything. But I am in talks with her, and yesterday was our first conversation, and it went really, really well. She does the charity, and it's in a rural neighborhood in Kenya, which if you have been following me for a while now, you'll know that Jaydi's story, the location is inspired by a town in Kenya, and a lot of the charity that I've done so far has been to support young girls' education in Kenya. So this is like a really exciting opportunity, I feel, and I'm really looking forward to the possibilities, because I am actually looking into it, taking my involvement a little bit more on an advanced level. I think I'll leave it like that for now. I am in the process of getting more involved in certain ways, so I will have some news to share with you. Hopefully it's positive news sometime in February. So look for that, for breaking news from me in February, and we'll talk about it when that comes. But yeah, the charity is called Harambee Center, and Harambee is like it's a Swahili term that means pulled together. I don't know if it's like a definitive term or like a more like a cultural term, you know, that wouldn't be like in a dictionary, like things that they just use to just kind of more of a, yeah, like a cultural term. I'm not sure if it's unofficially in the language, but yeah, it means pull together. So I think it's a good message. It is a good message. Like the whole idea of bringing community together. So when I learn more about that and get more involved, I'll be sharing more about that too, because I think it's going to be a big part of my life. And I have a good feeling about this particular organization. So I feel like I feel like something's going to be taking place with that for sure. I can feel it. I can feel like there's going to be something good, some good collaboration happening. I just kind of sense it. I learned about it actually through a girl that was going to the same church as me, and she came to help me. Her and another girl that I knew from a small group I was in came over to help me move, and that was the first time that we sort of personally interacted together. And then some way or another came up the fact that she was Kenyan, and then I was like, when she started talking about her parents and what they do, and it just, went from there. I told her about the book and everything that I was doing with that. So it just kind of happened very organically, and I'm looking forward to where it's going to be going. All right, that's 6. Should I just do one more just to kind of seal the deal? I think I'll do one more. Oops, I didn't need to add a group. I don't need a group. I did these fairly quickly, I think. I used to do different minute poses, but now I just do 1 minute poses, and I just rewind them when I want to still draw the pose. It kind of simplifies it for me, and I typically do 8 to 10 poses a day. I'm just going to do 7 now, so I think it's okay. I just about always end up having to resize it. That's the trouble I have with traditional, because I can't do that. But what I've been trying to do with traditional is just draw a lot smaller, because to avoid that running out of space scenario, which tends to happen to me quite a bit when I do figure drawing. So I just, whenever I do figure drawing traditionally now, I just do it a lot smaller so I don't run out of space. A lot smaller than whatever I used to do anyway. And I tend to draw the head too big sometimes the first time around, so I end up resizing a lot. Oh yeah, I'm going to be teaching kids art. I have to finish doing all the flyer work and everything for it. But yeah, I'm going to be teaching art for kids. I might have talked about this before, but I'm starting my class. It's totally going to be like an independent thing. So instead of working with the nonprofit, I'm actually going to be basically renting out studio space and doing this project on my own. I'm really looking forward to it because I haven't taught since May of this year. And I find myself surprisingly missing it. I just want it to continue to be part of my life, especially with the work that I want to do overseas. So I don't want to lose that aspect of myself that I didn't really care for at first. I wasn't crazy about it, but it's something that I learned to kind of love. Okay, I'm gonna be switching my camera over. So let me switch over to my iPhone camera. Alright, and I'm going to switch my audio to my iPhone. Alright, so this is completely wireless right now because the cable that I had before does not fit my new iPhone. My fancy new iPhone, so hopefully everything works out. This is the spread I'm working on. It's the first time we're seeing Governor Amwancha in this book. We see him, he's introduced at the very end of book 1, but this is the first time we're seeing him here in book 2. So let me take the tape. I'm going to remove the tape carefully. I started this one a while ago, so you see how I removed the tape sideways on a slant? That's how I prevent or help to prevent tearing. It's not 100% foolproof, especially when the tape's been on for a long time. There tends to be a little bit of tearage, but when you hold it like this, it just about never happens to the artwork. Knock on wood, God forbid, but at least we won't tear, God willing, the artwork, and you keep it on that slant. So, and one of my teachers, my professors, taught me to kind of do this overlapping and doing it in this sort of a 1, 2, 3, 4 sort of a method. And always tear on that slant to prevent destroying your artwork, which would be mortifying. Literally. After spending a lot of time on it. But I'm tearing it off because I'm done with the painting portion. I'm going to be adding marker, but I'm done with paint. So I'm tearing this off. And it just kind of like rolls from one to the next, which is nice. And I'm going to be filling in some of the colors that I haven't done yet with my marker before I do my ink. Almost done. Always take your time. Don't rush taking off the tape. It's really important that you want to preserve your art as much as you can. Could be valuable someday. You never know. And you can't use it for your book if it's destroyed. So that kind of wastes a lot of time. So this is spread number 27. Oh, okay. I'm further along than I thought it was. That's good. I'm like, I figured it's like 25 at the most. 25. So I'm kind of happy that I've gotten farther than I thought I did. So one of the things I want to color for sure is his eyes. Sure he has his nice brown eyes. I'm going to be coloring in, I see a little area in his mouth that I can fill in over here, I think, with some pink, like a pale pink, and even maybe this girl over here can have some of that in her lipstick. Alright, so let's see. A couple of other colors I want to fill in. I think I want to do this. And I think I'll make the jersey purple and orange. I feel like that goes together. I was debating what color to use for the secondary color to use for the jersey, so I think orange will work. Just those simple things. Alright, anything else? I want to add a couple of patterns to some people's clothes. So let's see. And I do have up on my wall a couple of Kanga patterns, or Kanga patterns. I'm not sure like the proper way. I'll have to figure that out. I want to, let me see. A lot of it is like floral design. A lot of it's like, some of it's abstract. There's a lot of like, let's see if I can do something like, just want to make it kind of interesting and feel like it's actually a fabric that she's wearing on her head. What it is a wax cloth. I was watching back one of the older videos I had, and I was talking about this Kanga, like the idea of them, and I said this like a textured fabric, but I didn't mention that it's a wax printed fabric that became popular at some time with the trade that was happening in Africa in different parts. There's actually have like this wax fabrics like all over the continent. It's really popular, and particularly, I know that the ones in Kenya have different meanings. I think they do in many of the different countries too. But these wax patterns, yeah, they became popular through trade, and they just became part of the aesthetic that they have over there. And I just wanted it to, and it really becomes recognizable as like an African aesthetic when you see these bright color and bold pattern fabrics, and you see it a lot in African design. All right, I think I want to, who else would have some? I'm not gonna give everybody the different pattern designs. Don't think it's likely that everyone in the would have it, but just I want to see it like here and there. Let's see. And I want to make sure it gives some variety with the colors. Maybe this can have it too. Seeing some little fabric things here. And let's see. What else? Maybe I'll find another color, maybe like burgundy, maybe? I'm gonna play with this girl. Give her this over here and trying to pick a pattern. What you can do is when you have the fabric, you can make it into anything. You can buy it, and you can use sewing patterns to create your own designs with it. So you can either just have it as like the full fabric, which you can just create as a skirt or something, but you can also use like a sewing pattern and design a dress or blouse. I actually have a shirt that was designed with the fabric, and it was from a designer. She's from Tanzania, so there's a lot of variety with it for sure. And maybe purple for somebody over here. Let's see if this guy has like a purple hat back here. I just want to make sure there's enough color happening. African people in general don't like to tend to be plain in anything. You won't tend to see like plain patterns. You don't tend to see plain food. It's just culturally just not really into being plain. It's just not really part of the culture to to have things just be like bland. I want to give this one girl some variety in her hair, because I have it like I want it to be like she has like a dyed blonde, sort of an afro. So I want to give her some texture in her hair. I want it to be like, you know, these are people that are going on. These are young people. They're here to have a good time. I really pulled this from just like my teenage years and just going to like what they would call like bashments, like having just teenagers being teenagers, really just having a good time, going out, just the nightlife of being a teenager or a young person. And what that's like, even if you're going to like a high school game, which this is, you know, high school games. So, you know, you just want to have a good time, basically. Okay, do I need to add anything else? I think I can kind of, maybe I'll give her like some sort of a wave print. Just trying to make sure that everybody feels like part of the same sort of environment. Maybe I give somebody like stripes. Looks kind of like a pirate, but that's okay. Got a logo there. And maybe this guy has like stripes going the other way. And maybe this guy has like just like prints of something here and there. Alright, I think that's good for now. Alright, so I guess what I'll do first is do some of the small details. Start off with my small brush pen, and I'm using blue because, like I said before, this is a night scene, and for the night, I like to just make it look a little bit different than the day by doing my details with a blue ink pen instead of using the brown and black, just to kind of represent the subtle change of light that's occurring. I color it differently with the watercolors too, obviously, but it's a little bit more, I feel like it adds a little bit more to change the brush pen color as well. And what I like to do is come in with the finer pinpoints first. That way, if anything needs to be thicker, I can just go over with the brush pen, and I don't have to worry about the opposite happening, like accidentally putting something that should be thinner with the brush pen. There's certain things that I know I want to be thicker, like all these heads here, I know I'll use a brush pen, but for details, people that are further in the distance, things that are further in the distance, I'd rather go over them with a fine point to start. take away a little bit of that pressure and anxiety. I realized too when I was rewatching yesterday some of my earlier videos of this series, because the purpose of me doing that, I want to be able to I know my videos up until this point have been long form, and it's been convenient for me to do it that way, just because it's just kind of the way I work. So I just been recording myself as I work. But I also noticed that it tends to be not as popular a format of consuming content. So I want to make it as easy as possible for people to reach my stuff and to find my tips and everything that I do. So I want to convert some of those longer videos into shorter clips, just with some of the advice that I've put out over the last couple of years, and just make them more easy to find and easy to, I guess, consume. I guess that's the word. I feel like an old head saying that. But basically, yeah. So anyway, I was watching it, and one of the things that I realized, if I can remember what my point was, I don't even remember. I don't even remember what I was going to say. I was going to say something important, but I don't remember. Oh well, it'll come back to me, hopefully. I'm hoping it will come back to me in not the too distant future, before the end of this video at least. Anyway. Dang. I really forgot. What was I talking about before I started talking about video clips? I was talking about coloring or inking, and inking in, oh, I remember now. I was watching the video, and then I realized that I had made a blueprint of Jaydi's house, and I had totally forgotten about that because I hadn't looked at some of my concept sketches and some of my concept material in a while. I've just been basically looking at the town map. That's what I've been referring to most often for this book. But I hadn't looked at the blueprint of her house in a while, and I was like, oh man, she's supposed to have a hallway. So I have some sketches of their house, of her bedroom leading straight to the living room, but there's supposed to be a hallway between her bedroom and her and Bendelli's shared bedroom, and then the living room, because there's an extra bedroom that is their grandma's. So I'm hoping that I can some way manipulate a living room into the sketches that I have already. Either that, if I can't do that, then what I'll do is I'll re-illustrate the part of the room that's leading out of the door. And so what I'll do is I'll just redraw those and add the living room. Hopefully I can do it with the sketches I already have, but if I can't, then yeah, I'll have to redo at least part of those drawings so that I make sure they have a living room, because Bibi's bedroom is really important to the story. She does go to that room a lot, and there also needs to be that space between where Jaydi is leaving and coming from to go into the cooking area. So I need to make sure that I keep that consistent. It's just the little things that you don't even really think about when you begin your story and you start writing. Even when you start drawing, you don't realize that you need that stuff, and then you're like, oh, hold on, this character needs to be able to get to this space from there. And so then you start realizing all the things that you need to incorporate. So it's a funny thing, but that's what it is. I'm glad I saw that part though, because I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot that I made a blueprint of her house. Like, it wasn't even on my mind at all. I totally forgot about it. All right, so we have him. and draw these people back here. I'm hoping I can get as much detail as I need to get. I realize like I painted in some places, like it's not exactly within the line, but I feel like for watercolor, for the purpose of watercolor, I feel like that's okay. It doesn't bother me at all. Or maybe it's not even watercolor, but more of like the overall aesthetic of what I'm trying to do. I feel like certain aesthetics let you kind of be a little bit more painterly with the style, which is what I like to do. Certain looks and whatnot. So you guys can still see everything I'm doing. Okay. To make sure that I'm within the range of my camera, as sometimes I'm not. I'll have to check and see what the weather is like in different towns in this area where this story is taking place, to see what it's like at night. I'm assuming that it's still pretty warm, especially because I know this area. Hold on a second. That was my dog, and that was just the Amazon guy. So sorry for that rude interruption, Skippy. Why you gotta be so loud, huh? Why you gotta be so loud, huh? Interrupted my whole live stream. Skippy. I don't know if you can see her. That's my dog making all that noise. Huh? And she knows it too. She knows she's naughty. That was naughty. I know you're just trying to protect me, huh? Are you trying to protect me? Trying to protect me? It's okay. Good baby. I know I talk to her like a baby. She's a good girl. You're a good girl. You gotta be quiet though. It's too loud. It's too loud. Too loud. Huh? Too loud. That's Skipper. Okay, go lay down. Okay, so back to my work. I have no idea what I was talking about at all. Zero clue what I was talking about. But hopefully we can get back to some form of conversation since the interruption. Oh, she interrupted me so much. I gotta get my head back. Where was I? Oh yeah. Anyway, let's talk about what's happening here. So what's happening in this panel, or in this spread right here, which is like I did a nice big spread. I wanted it to be like, I only have a few of these in this book. A full wash, taking over like the whole 2 pages. And I think that's what it's called. I could be wrong. But I only have a few of these in this book, but I feel like they happen in important parts. Like here, it's just the first time that you're seeing, or that we're seeing Governor Amwancha in this particular book. So that feels important. It's also the start of the game, which is a big centerpiece of this particular book. So there's a couple of important things happening. That made me feel like, all right, this can be a good opportunity to do just like a 2-page spread of everything. There's a nice variety of people, I hope. I wanted to include some of the people of the Eastern faith here at the game, because there is a variety of there's different religions in the community here. So I wanted to show that, you know, both are part of like the everyday life and everyday culture, and they share that commonality. Even though they might have different belief systems, they share that common culture of their community and community events. And I have the workers here who are setting up. Even though the game is starting, they're still orchestrating things. That felt like a authentic part to me, because I mean, so many times in events there's so much going on that I feel like at every part of any event, like there's still people behind the scenes trying to get stuff together, trying to pull things together, trying to organize what's going on. So I wanted to bring that aspect into it. Like, yeah, people are still busy getting the organization part of it. If you look closely at any event, any place that you go to, there's always like somebody there trying to get things together. I feel like there's always those behind the scenes people, which you might have been that at some point. I know that I've done that, especially like with volunteering. I think I've done that the most. Like at no point is there never like stuff to do. It's not like, all right, the show started, so we're done. No, there's always something to do. So I wanted to make sure that I incorporated that part of it. Alright, there's people getting things done, people walking in for the show. And then make sure that I incorporated everybody. Okay. Alright, so there's that. And it's just taking your time and doing one thing at a time. I'm really glad I'm getting back to this, because like I said, I started this spread, I want to say maybe a month ago, and I just did the paint, but I have not been like actively involved in this particular book for months. So it actually feels pretty good to get back to it. I know that I did miss it for sure. This was a strange year. Not a bad year at all. It was good in many ways. I realized a lot of things. I realized some things that were good for me and some things that I didn't want to have in my life anymore. I left some old places and found some new ones. So it's been an interesting year. to be sure. I hope that I have some good variety with the people. I wanted there to be like at least a certain amount of different variety with like the complexions and the skin tones, just to kind of show there's different types of people. Not everyone is all the same. So I hope that that shows through. Oh, I'm not even in my camera's view. Sorry. Try my best to kind of make sure that I am in view, but sometimes it just doesn't exactly work out that way. So I get comfortable and I just pull the picture wherever I want it to be, and then I don't realize that I'm not in frame anymore. It feels pretty peaceful to do it like this. That's one thing I really love about the process of painting. For me, I think at first it was kind of just traditional that I felt this way with, but I think nowadays, I think I feel that about painting in any format. Like, it used to be really hard, and that was one of the things I noticed too when I was watching my older videos, was that I expressed a lot of frustration with digital, and it wasn't a peaceful process for me. But now I feel like it is, and I think it's because I put that time in to now where I understand it, as before I didn't understand it. And now it's become, now that I don't have to worry about the worrying part of it so much, it's become much more of a peaceful, enjoyable process for me, which I really am also grateful for, because I didn't have it before. And I'm really, really glad that that was the best thing about doing the children's book project that I'm wrapping up now. The illustrations are finished, but the project is still in the wrap-up stage. But I'm really glad I did that, even though I did it almost for free, because it was a really, really, really good learning experience for me, especially in digital. It really just took away all of the, I'm not going to say all, but it took away a hell of a lot of the reservations I had about digital, and a lot of the fear I had around digital that was really there. And now not so much. And that's one of the good things about facing your fears. So at some point, and I do hope that you do in your creative process, do some things that you're afraid of. One of the things that just came in my Amazon bundle was a big old 25-pound block of clay. And so one of the things that I want to do more of, and I want to learn to do, because I haven't really learned how to do it yet, is learning how to do clay. Because I really have a deep interest in sculpting characters and little figurines and stuff like that, but I just don't know how to do it just yet. But it's one of the things that I really want to learn how to do. And I bought some classes on it from Domestika. So buying this big old block of clay is just like cementing, all right, it's time to do this. It's time to face it. You have the supplies, no more excuses. All right, and I'm going to, this is the light, which I'm gonna have to reference in a picture. The big portable stadium light. That is lighting the stadium as we speak. And so, make sure I get that right. Okay, let me look it up because I need a reference for this. I looked it up before, but so what it is, it's like this big thing. And it's on like this wheel thing. It has wheels. And this should, it has wheels and it has like this prop thing that's coming out of it. Alright, so that doesn't look exactly like it, but I think it gets the point across, which is all I really want. I'm not a technical drawer. I don't like drawing tech stuff. I don't think I've ever hidden that fact. So, you know, I just want it to be readable as what it is, so hopefully it is that. But as far as being like perfectly accurate as a piece of machinery, yeah, that's not what I'm here for. Make this tire a little bit darker so we can see that that's a wheel. And I think I'll add a little bit of color to this thing so we can see that it's like this sort of lime green color. Okay. And there's another one. I think I'll also do the detail on this side. So, all right. I want it to have like a yellow tint to it, like the other one does. And let's see, the tire or the wheel of it can be down here. And the little, there's two wheels. So from this one you can see both wheels. And the little prong, I guess that's in the front. And maybe even the pole should be a little bit darker, so we can see it well and know what that is. And they have the speakers over here too, so I'm gonna make sure that I make that clear as it needs to be. And I'd like to draw this part of the pole where the light's coming from. Okay. Just wanted to make sense. That's my goal. That's like my only goal with this drawing, with this particular item, this mechanical thing. I just wanted to make sense. And be readable for what it is. Doesn't need to do anything more than that for me. All right. Steam light. All right. Okay, and let's do the speaker. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you guys could still see what I'm doing over here, so hopefully. So it looks like you can, so good. I was doing really good on my food until Thanksgiving, and now I just feel hungry all the time. I feel like I'm more hungry than previous to Thanksgiving, which sucks. I'm like, what the hell? I was doing so well, eating healthy. Now I've been craving pie. The hell? That's Thanksgiving for you, though. It messes you up. It messes your whole thing up. I'm trying to keep regular with my exercise too, and or my working out. It's more. All right, I'm over 40, so I guess it's just exercise at this point. I've been more interested in just like. I used to run for a long time, and I say used to because it's this past year it's slowly faded out of my life. It started, I think, when I broke my toe last December, and I couldn't run for like 3 months, and after that I just kind of I mean, I kept on running here and there, but it was no longer like a habit for me, and it was hard for me to pick it back up. So I was like, you know what, as long as I'm still relatively active, I've been okay. So I'm trying to make dance just more of a regular practice for me. It's like I've been having been part of a dance group situation for a while, and I do that twice a week, but I've been trying to just like do more on my own. So trying to make that my new exercise routine to replace the running, because I've been trying to pick it back. I tried for a while to pick it back up, but I'm just like, you know what? I think I'd rather just dance. So I'm gonna try to force it if it doesn't feel like as natural for me anymore to run. We'll see how it all goes down. In the end, we'll all find out. I guess. I was initially going to create chairs for everybody to sit in, but I was like, I don't know if it feels as believable that this small town will have chairs just available for all these people. Because they are a small town, it is a poor town. I had to figure out how to do the lighting because I'm like, they don't have like they don't keep this stadium lit like this like every day. So I figure like just having like some temporary lighting would probably, well, that was like the best. That seemed like a reasonable solution for me to use for this situation. So I'm like, okay, well, that seems reasonable. They can have like some temporary lights that they use, or like portable lights that they would use for having these type of games. But the seating situation, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have everybody just kind of sit. They could be standing, but I feel like that would be, I wouldn't want to be standing for a whole soccer match. So I made a decision to have them all like just sitting within the stadium. That is also like, because the thing is, it's not just a stadium. It's like there's sort of their town square where they do like all of their big events for the town. So like if they have like festivals or different things happening, like this is where all of the events happen, like this one area. So I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do chairs. I don't even know where they would store all those chairs for the rest of the time. I mean, maybe, but this is the solution that I made. So it's like when you're creating your own worlds and towns and places, especially if they're based off of real places, you have to kind of figure out like how you want to resolve issues like that, like I said, things that you don't necessarily think about when you first begin writing, and you're thinking about like the plot, and you're trying to get the characters and their backgrounds and their personalities, and then you get into the art making, and then you're like, oh, there's other things to work out too, like the little details that you just, that come up later. I think it's like that on any like filmmaking project, I would imagine, or any sort of thing where you have a complex story and then you have the visuals that need to match it. I can't imagine like what they had to go through with like the Game of Thrones series and the sequential, what did they call it? What do they call that thing that came, the prequel? So I mean, I'm sure a lot of that stuff they didn't think about until they needed to think about it, and they're like, oh, well, what would this person be like in this situation? What will this area look like in this situation? It kind of makes it all interesting, though. It just brings another layer of creativity and thought process that you might not think about otherwise. So I think it's kind of a cool way to expand your creative process and your experience too with like creative problem solving for situations such as these. All right, a lot of little details. Make sure you give your hand breaks. Sometimes you just do need to give your hand like some breaks. Maybe I'll make this guy a little bit different. Maybe he'll sit differently than everybody. I'm not sure. Maybe I could have. I don't know. I maybe debate now. Like, I'm sure chairs would have worked fine. Probably would have worked fine too. But I just made a decision to do it this way. So hopefully it all feels relatable and believable. I think is the term that you really want to use when you're coming up with scenarios and places and things for your characters. So add a little bit of variety with some of these things. Some stuff you might come up with on the spot, like all of a sudden I felt like this guy looks like he should have dreadlocks, so give him a little dreadlock sock. Hopefully everything makes sense. I'm really excited for this book. I think even more so than the first one. That might be why it's been harder for me in some ways than the first one, because I don't know, it feels a little bit more personal. The first book is but it's more of an introduction. It's not even like the story hasn't even really begun yet. It has, but it hasn't. I feel like book 2 is where the story really starts. Like, it's like, oh, okay. I mean, the first one is still kind of, oh, yeah. Like, it's that kind of story. Like, it's not a little easy peasy, walk in the park type of story. This is like real people's feelings and emotions and complicated. Yeah, I know the first one is that, but this one it feels even more so to me. It's even more like complicated. It's even more like this is not gonna be easy scenario to deal with, sort of a thing. But I'm excited for it. It does make me feel, I think it subconsciously, maybe I was afraid of it. And I think that could be part of why I had to like take a break. Maybe I felt overwhelmed, or like is a challenge that I maybe wasn't, I don't know, maybe I was still just giving myself time to let it all sink in. I'm still not entirely sure what I'm doing for Christmas yet. I want to go visit my mom, but I don't know if I can yet because of finances. So I had to figure finances out. and if it's gonna actually be doable. I hope so, because I went to Atlanta last Christmas, and that was really fun. So hopefully I can go again. I will let you guys know whether or not it all works out for me. Hopefully it does. I feel like some of these guys might be breaking the fourth wall and just kind of aware of the fact that they're, in one sense, being filmed by being on this, in this drawing. I feel like there's a bit of awareness in some of them. I just started recently watching that show, what's it called? Abbott Elementary. It's pretty funny. It's definitely like the black version of The Office, which I'm not mad at. I never watched The Office to any extent, but I've seen enough clips to know, okay, that seems like it's a funny show. I might eventually, I think it's already passed, but, I still like it. Yeah, I can see why people like it, sort of a thing. I never really got on that train, but I can see why so many people did. So with this one, I'm kind of like, starting in from the first season. So it seems like really interesting. So I think I'll continue watching it. This girl, I think I'll just give her like braids. We're getting close to the back, so I'll probably be able to switch to my brush pen fairly soon, because I can feel where it's starting to feel like this brush is not thick enough to do the job that I need it to do. Alright, so what I'll do is finish up where I need this detail. So on Governor Amwansha, over in this panel, it's an insert panel. And I do recognize I'm a little bit quieter now. I just want to be able to really focus in on this panel. It's really important when you're doing people's facial details that you really take your time to get the lines right. Especially with something as permanent as ink. Even with digital, I take my time when I'm doing detailed, especially like facial features and stuff, because you don't want to have to do it over. And in this situation, when you're doing this, you really can't do it over without doing the whole thing over. Your options are limited. I like this character design because I feel like he's designed, and I think all the characters in Jaydi's story, to be honest, not to be like arrogant, but I feel like they all, like, their design really matches their personality. I guess because I did spend a lot of time, like, that was all I was doing at first, was just character development for a while. Way before I started the story. So, I guess it makes sense. Or way before I started, like, getting into the woods, so to speak, of the story. Getting into the deep end. I still can feel a bit of the stickiness from the tape on the paper edges, which is kind of funny. It's just a little remnant and reminder. Craving like a veggie burger from Veggie Grill. So I might get me one after that. I always tend to get hungry on these live streams for some reason. Okay, not bad. I don't know how much of this I want to do with. I think I'll switch to my brush pen at this point. At this point, I'm just dragging. Oh, I left this one without. I left this one open. Why did I do that? Alright, hopefully it didn't dry out. I didn't realize I had two pens open. I guess I was swapping. I wonder why. Because I know some of them are like. I could have. Oh, well. It's fine. I had two, like, of my smaller pens. I had a 0.5. I have a 05 and a 01. I didn't even realize it. But anyway, I'm just going to switch to my brush pen. Please don't nudge me, Skipper. Not right now. I just feel like putting some kind of logo on it. Maybe it's a cat or something. I don't know why I thought of cat. I just thought of doing some kind of a cat. If I was doing this in daytime, I might have used like a lighter brush for like her hair, since she has like a blonde style. But again, using the night color scheme, just using all blue brush. I think I wanted to give her braids too. Some kind of a braided type of style. And again, I just wanted to keep this. There's a lot of like the floral design like I talked about, but it really doesn't look like everyone's wearing Hawaiian shirts. That is what I hope. It doesn't look like Hawaiian shirts. It's funny, I'm pretty sure I used black paint for this, but it came out like a brown, like a dark brown for the hair. That's kind of interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I think it's because of the undertones I already had. The fact that it is watercolor, it has that translucent aspect to it, and just the undertones created more of a brown, which I appreciate. Okay. Okay. There's a lot of curve in that fence there with this perspective, so I think I might need to might try the French curve. I was thinking about maybe doing it by hand, but I don't know if I want to risk that. Don't think I want to. If you have any questions about anything that I'm doing here, feel free to leave it in the comments. I'll get back to it as soon as I can, as soon as I see it. The problem is sometimes I don't see it, but if I do, hopefully I do, and when I do, I will definitely get back to you. I'm really grateful for a lot of people that have left positive comments. So if you got anything positive, I really love to see that. It really helps me to keep going and doing this type of thing. Because otherwise I'm like, why am I doing this? Is this helping anybody? But when it does help people, it really makes me feel happy. So let me know. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this live stream too, was to get me back on track. Like I said, I've been having a hard time getting back to this project, and I really want to work on it and get it out next spring is my goal. So, and I've had to push that date back several times, and I do not want to push it back anymore, because it was initially going to be out this year, but it was too much. I was too frazzle dazzled. So hopefully it all comes together and I can put it out next year in the spring. coming towards the end now. I'm gonna wrap up soon. Just have a couple more lines of stuff to go, but we are approaching the end. So like I said, if you have questions, if you're making a comic of your own and you want just to know what to expect, a graphic novel series, particularly if you're in the process or have one in mind and you just kind of want to know what you're in for, good, bad, and otherwise, yeah, feel free to let me know, and I'll help you as much as I possibly can with just preparing yourself for what that's like. It's a life-changing experience. It really is. Once you like tell your own story, it's different. Like we really like tell a story. I feel like it changes everything. It's really empowering too, I would say, more than anything. It feels really like man, I did that. I did it. I know it's hard, but I did it. People are actually reading something that I created. I was inspired by. I was led to. I was given the gift to create this thing, and now it's here. And that's it. It's like no going back. Once it's in the world, it's in the world, and that's kind of amazing. I like to just add little bits of dust and dirt and debris with the marker just to make it feel like there's some more texture happening. This brush might be a little bit thick, but I think it can still kind of do the job that I want it to do. It's a little on the thick side though. It's fast because I haven't had this brush for very long. It's just one of the things you think about if you wanted to go traditional, like you do have to restock your supplies fairly regularly because they do burn out, sometimes quicker than you would like them to. Even good quality stuff, it burns out, it gives away to use. So just know you have to keep your supplies up, keep your supply chain going, and maybe get one of those subscriptions for supplies that they have on Amazon. I know they have a option to get like brush prints delivered to you every however many months you choose or however many weeks you choose. So if you can go full time, if you're young and spritey, then maybe you want to get them delivered to you fairly often. I just order them when I need them. I don't need any extra add-on expenses that I'm not expecting to pay. Alright, so let me see. I think I wanted to try with that French curve ruler for this. And you can get one of these just about any. Most of art supplies have them, I think. I think I buy mine from the fabric store though. I think I get mine from Joanne just because I know that they have this size of a French curve, which is a pretty big ruler. How many? It's like going all the way around, it's 26 inches. So like tighter around here, it's a tighter curve, but then you can get to a looser curve. So let's see what we can do. If I can find the right angle And sometimes you might need to change it up a little bit, but I think this can work. Shit, it looks like I used this to draw the original. Just be careful when you're going over people and things. You don't want to go over your mark. Always wipe off the brush after, or wipe off the ruler after, so you don't carry that smudge. And the curve is a little bit different for this part, so I think I'll do it in 2 sections. Get this angle over here. And change it just a little bit for this part. Trying to find the angle that works. And I do want to make sure that they're even too, so I'm gonna have to put these together so that they line up. At least for this part. There. Make sure that they line up so it doesn't get wonky when you have the printed version. My son complimented me on my perspective for this, which I really appreciated because my son doesn't tend to compliment me too much. So I know that when he does, that it's the real thing, which I like and am very grateful for. I learned how to do perspective with you guys during that Perspective Made Easy book. That definitely helps my perspective game a lot. Because y'all know I am not naturally talented or gifted with perspective. It's something that I have to drudge through. But I really enjoy doing scenes now. I don't even call them backgrounds. I like doing scenes. So perspective is necessary. But it's a gift because it's really nice when you understand it. I messed up the line a little bit there, but that's okay. Can probably fix it. Let's see. And what I can probably do is edge out a little bit of the blue in Photoshop if I need to, which I will need to. Just so that edge isn't as dramatic. Add a little bit of texture to the wall. So it doesn't look so perfect and pristine because it's not meant to be either of those things. And for this side, I feel like I can just drag this down. Okay. See, I might want to make this edge a little bit deeper, just considering that's where the shadow is. Okay. And let's go ahead and fill this border in. Oh, I think I'm supposed to do that with black even on this. So I'll do that with my black. I'm looking for graphic. So even in my night scenes, I use the black for the borders. Kind of makes them stand out too. It kind of contrasts with the rest of the art too, which I like. Makes things stand out a little bit better. All right, there's that. And what I want to do very quickly, we're almost done with this whole spread, is I just want to add a little bit of this color. Just a little bit of added shading for behind these characters that have this light in front of them. It just feels like there should be some more shadow back here. And since it's just very minimal color, I'm not minding that it's not taped because I'm not doing a full wash. Just adding a little bit of shadow behind some of these people just to make it feel a little bit more believable right there. Still consider the fact that they do have that stadium light there, so there's it's casting shadows. Behind my audience. And a little bit on this side where I have my people and stuff. There should be some casted shadows. And I think that we are done with this spread. Maybe I'll add, you see, then you're never really done. So you always think of stuff as you're going. You're like, oh, this would look better if I do this. Add a little bit of highlight. So just a couple of little highlights here and there. I think that should do it. Right where those little spots are, and I think we're good. I think we're good. Let's see. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me for this rendition of making a graphic novel with Alicia Dianne. I enjoyed this very much. I hope you guys did too. And I hope to see you guys next time. I'm not sure how often I'll be doing these. I might do it again, start it up again weekly. So if you're benefiting from these, just give it a like and subscribe. Let me know if this is helpful for you. And if you have any questions, again, let me know in the comments. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining me. And I will see you next time. Be grateful, live balanced, and be yourself. Bye-bye.